ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שהכל נהיה בדברו. I have said it before, I have really nothing new to say. I'm going to speak about Moses, Moshe, the leader of the Jewish people who took our ancestors out of Egypt, and he is already in the latter part of his life. He's about to die. He's 120 years old, and God does not permit that he enter the land of Israel. So we need new leadership. And he dies and is buried in the desert. No one knows where he is buried, maybe so that the place where his physical remains are should not become a mausoleum, shouldn't be a place of worship, or maybe to show that Moses really belongs to everybody, not to the people of Israel, but to the entire human race, because the message of the Decalogue and the Ten Commandments and the Torah, that's really for everybody. The principles, the ethical principles and norms that are contained in them apply to everybody, really. So Moshe is really everybody's leader in this sense, maybe. Moshe is about to die, so he has to select somebody who will continue after him. Actually, he had 2 sons, but his sons somehow disappear. Maybe to teach us that if you are the leader of the Jewish people, or he had to give everything of himself, and he couldn't be maybe a good father, he wasn't a family man, he separated from his wife. We're not too sure exactly what happened in his family life, but it wasn't a normal family life. He had nephews who were highly learned, the sons of his brother Aaron. They were priests. One of them certainly could have been the leader after his demise, but he chose somebody else. Whom did he choose? A man by the name of Joshua, Yehoshua in Hebrew. Joshua was one of the 12 spies that went to look into the land of Israel to see if they can conquer it. And he and Caleb were the only ones that brought a positive report about the land of Israel. It is possible to conquer it. The other 10 said no. So maybe because of his affinity to the land of Israel, and we are talking now about the conquest of the land of Israel, maybe this is why Moshe selected him, or maybe it was something else. He was really, Yeshua was the disciple, the servant of Moshe, servant in a positive way. He was at his beck and call at all times. He was the one that knew Moshe best of anybody else. Maybe that is why he was selected. He was also a man of intellect, but in addition, he knew the person of Moshe and maybe could fill his shoes better than anybody else. I remember reading that my teacher, Rabbi Soloveitchik, said that when he was a young man, a boy, he went to a synagogue, it was a Hasidic synagogue, and a man dressed in the Sabbath regalia with a long coat and one of these hats, fur hats called shtreimel that the Hasidim wear, approached him and said, "You know who I am? I'm Yankel the porter." Yankel the porter. The whole week he used to go, bent over because of what he had to carry with old clothes, torn, full of holes and whatnot. And here he appeared like somebody else. And Rabbi Soloveitchik says, you can study all the laws about the Sabbath that you want, all the norms, but if you don't live it, if you don't go through this 24-hour period where you become somebody altogether different, you'll never understand really what is the spirit of the Sabbath. And this man, Yankel the porter, on the Sabbath he was like somebody else, like the richest person in town, while during the week, of course, he had to do hard work, menial work. I remember that when I was in high school in Lima, Peru, we had a teacher by the name of Abarca. He was a teacher of world history. I don't remember one word that he taught us. And we thought that he was the best history teacher in the world. Like in many other schools, they also have the best teachers that in the entire world. But what do I remember of this teacher? I remember how he was dressed impeccably. I remember that his lectures were structured. He was very well prepared every time he appeared in front of the students. I remember the silence that reigned in classroom while he spoke. He commanded respect. This is what I remember of him. What he taught us, I really don't remember. But I do remember his personality and how he appeared before us. We had another teacher by the name of Chirinos, I think was his name. He was an obese man. His belly was next to his thighs. But he used to sometimes seat us in a circle and would speak directly to us as if personally about things of life, about the relationship between fathers and sons, about sexual problems that young people may have. He related to us on a very personal level. I think he was a teacher of geography, maybe economics. I'm not too sure. I don't remember one word that he taught us, but I do remember his personality, that you have to somehow project yourself into the soul of somebody else. Listen to him. Tell him about the things that are really important to him. What I'm trying to tell you is, if you want to know universal history, Google it. Go into the internet. You can find all sorts of sources and whatnot. And as an adult, you can learn a lot about geography. You can certainly learn accessible. The internet today provides us with many, many ways of learning that weren't available before. But it doesn't give you the personal relationship, the personal touch. This is what Joshua had. He saw how Moses reacted when somebody came to him and asked him something. He saw how Moshe related to the people. And he understood that to be a leader, it isn't sufficient to have an intellect, to have been the one that brought the Ten Commandments to the world, that brought the Torah to the world. You also have to have some kind of personal posture and interest in what happens to other people, so that maybe you in your own life certainly have met people that have meant a lot to you, that you learned a lot, not so much from what they taught you, the knowledge they tried to transmit to you, but by the way they attended somebody who extended his hand and wanted help. When somebody came and knocked on their door, how they reacted. Did they identify with the person, or did they stand apart from whatever situation took place? So bear in mind, intellect is very important. I don't want to minimize it, but the emotional part, the personal contact is equally important, and one can learn a lot from it.